Hey, welcome to the Backyard Professor live show. I think they're having technical glitches or something. I haven't heard from the Tedescos yet. They were supposed to be in 20 minutes ago or so. Who knows what's happening? Unfortunately, I can't get a hold of them. I've sent them several emails. I do not have them in the studio yet, but I'm going to go ahead and start. Hopefully, they'll join us just as quick as they can. Tonight, I wanted to share their insight and their approach and idea to the criticisms that they've received from Mick West, as well as apparently there has been a little bit of a downplaying of their work from Nolan and Jake Barber and the Skywatchers. I don't know if Jake has said anything about the Tedesco brothers, but based on what I understand, their equipment is second to none. It's absolutely premium. They use it extensively. Can you believe it's already been 3 months since I've talked to them last? I'm kind of a little bit in shock that it's been that long ago, but I was really surprised that it took 3 months of my life away, disappeared, and now here we are again, and I'm trying to have them on again. If they can't make it tonight for whatever reason, I will reschedule with them, and maybe we can do a recording, and I'll do a premiere live next Sunday with them, or if they can do a live, I'll be happy to do a live. But in the meantime, I went out the last couple of nights to do some UFO watching myself. I haven't had any luck at all. I've seen literally nothing. I have taken some images of the Wizard Nebula, and I took a really nice image of the Flame Nebula up in Orion. The Wizard Nebula is over there in Cepheus, the king. So and I've got to work on those. I've got some post-production work to do on them. The C-Star telescope doesn't give you, well, no telescope does what the astrophotographers are telling me. No telescope gives you the very good, unless you have hundreds of hours of exposures. You always have to take it to post-production. There's many programs for that, which I'm doing. But if you haven't looked at it or bought it yet, this is their book, the Tedesco's Nightcrawler, Eye on the Sky. They're both engineers, as we all know by now. They're pretty technical. They add a lot of information in texts, in their text and in their paper. They published a peer-reviewed paper, and there's a lot of radar and there's a lot of discussion. What I like about it is they're kicking out the way of their method, etc. I do wish Skywatcher, Jake Barber, and those guys would do the same thing pretty quick, but first give us some video. Tomorrow night, their video drops part 2. I'm going to be extremely interested to see the video and or photos that they claim they have taken. This will be fun to compare the materials from the Tedescos with Jake Barber and his team, and then see what the critics such as Mick West and others come up with. This might be them. Hang on just one sec. Hello. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just seeing I'm supposed to have the Tedescos on tonight, and I haven't seen nor heard from them. I was just wondering. All right, so we're back. That's my good friend that introduced me to the Tedescos. I called him earlier tonight. And he said, boy, that's not like them not to show up. Something must have happened. And that's my suspicion. They seemed really excited to be here. So I apologize in advance if they don't get here. I mean, you never know. It could have been in traffic. That could have been a traffic accident. They might have had computer troubles. Who knows? But anyway, so it looks like I'm going to wing it for a while until they show up. Yeah. Do you have a minute to talk about your car's extended warranty? No, we're not talking about car extended warranty. I'm going to delete that comment. I'm not interested in extended car warranties. Yeah, it is cynical, Banana. Yes, you are, the Tonkela. And I appreciate you hooking me up with the Tedescos and getting me to talk to them. And let me say up front, too, I think we're all on the same side. And I get it. Spats happen. I mean, you've seen me. I produce spats also. I do. I call out some people, and sometimes I say things I wish I wouldn't have, etc. But we're all looking for the same thing, and we're all trying to get to the same goal, which is, what is this phenomenon? I mean, how do we deal with it? How do we handle it? I know, who was it? Danny Jones is talking to, just recently saw his, part of his podcast today. He's talking with the gentleman who, I can't even think of he's very mystical. He's actually a parapsychologist. Mishlove. He's talking with Mishlove. And again, that's the crazy thing about this situation, is we have to broaden ourselves. We have to keep our open mind. We have to grasp that what is conventional is really not the most necessary way to go about it anymore. I mean, what's conventional about a UFO coming from outer space, or what's conventional about a civilization that's been on this earth longer than we have and coming up from the ocean? See, either direction, either thing is really wild. And it's really, tricky to deal with in the same way that we deal with all of the other problems, because this is fundamentally unique. And that is so interesting. Yeah, how do I invite you on? Galactic Family Podcast, a section state director with MUFON in Pennsylvania. Yeah, very interesting. No, I have not talked to Casper from Australia. He's curious and searching skies like yourself with cams. Yeah, and this is the thing that the Tedescos also said in my last podcast, in the last time they were here, is they don't have luck every night either. And in fact, I suspect now they probably get out more than I do, and this is good. They certainly have vastly superior equipment than I do. And so as we get out, we have off nights. And on those off nights, I'm still out enjoying learning about the cosmos. I don't live near the ocean, so I can't go to the ocean and watch them come up out of the water, the USOs. That would be very interesting, unidentified submerged objects. I've been reading Richard Nolan's book on that and did a review on that, and that's a remarkable thing. The aliens contacted the Tedescos. Let's hope they didn't take them away. They might get more, but you can cut a rug better. Hey, Kev the Tech. Good to see you. Hello, UFO Busters, the UFO show from Australia. Yes, welcome. They've been abducted. Cervantes, no, let's hope they haven't. Now we don't know. That's the way it happens. I think there's a fundamental mistrust with our government at this point in this community, with the UFO community. And so this is the sunshine. This is the bright spot, having people like John and Gerry Tedesco with their determination. Well, look, they're putting a boatload of money and time into this to try to come up with some information that can be beneficial for humanity. That's stellar material as far as I'm concerned. But with the mistrust of the government, the Tedescos are a breath of fresh air. Potentially, Jake Barber is going to hopefully turn into a breath of fresh air. Now, let me justify myself somewhat, if I may. I'm not afraid to criticize, and I'm not afraid to receive criticism either, because I recognize I'm human. It's all good. I make mistakes more than anybody else, and all of them combined. That's all good too. When there is a claim being made, that means you've raised the bar to at least that claim. And if it's a really extraordinary claim, that means you've really raised the bar, and you're going to have to do something really extraordinary. Now, that's the bar that I had no choice to put way up there with Jake Barber and his team. The reason I haven't done it with the Tedescos now, understand the context with the Tedescos versus the Jake Barber. The Tedescos showed up on the scene with equipment, with evidence, with video, that one little orb playing peekaboo with them behind the sign. Every time Gerry turned the infrared over there, it kind of slid. Now that's solid. That is fascinating stuff. We haven't seen stuff quite of that caliber and quality with Jake Barber. I'm going to give him a chance to redeem himself tomorrow night or Tuesday. I'm not sure if it's going to be Monday or Tuesday. I'm hoping it's tomorrow night. But I don't want to just write him off. Now, it's true. I get exasperated. And unfortunately, I feel like I've influenced some people to where they've completely turned Jake Barber off. That was never my intention. And I'm not defending him, and I'm not refuting him. I'm saying I'm exasperated based on some of the claims and some of the lack of immediate follow-up when their claims indicated that they could produce an immediate follow-up, right? So I'm not against them. I'm not for them. I'm trying to watch well, that's not true. I am for them. I am for anybody who's going to attempt and make a serious effort to get to a better understanding of the phenomenon. I'm all in favor of absolutely anyone who is doing that. And I would strongly encourage you guys to have that approach as well. We don't know where the breakthrough is going to happen. I mean, it could be with Danny Sheehan. It could be with Jesse Michaels. It could be with Area 52. It could be with the Backyard Professor. It could be with none of us, and possibly has already happened with several people who may not even own a computer, because there are UFO visitations down in Brazil and Mexico and Peru and South America and over in Africa and out in Australia, etc., that we simply are not hearing about in any manner. So are the UFOs beholden to show up to those of us who spend a lot of money on tech so we can capture them? No, not necessarily, right? So there are people who don't even have cell phones who are visited regularly down there in Belize, in Mesoamerica. I'm serious. The author, Clark, The Sky People. And she's got another one. that she has talked about these beings are showing up to people who are not in government. These people are showing up to people who are not influential at all of any kind. They do not have high-paying jobs, etc. Our specific thinking of who the UFO should appear to may be entirely off. You need to do the CE5 app. I do. I confess I do. I don't know anything about the CE5. Why don't you send me the link or whatever? I suppose I could look it up on YouTube, right? Yeah, our brain is a computer. I can't argue with that. A computer of a soft computer of blood and stuff like that, not hard links. And I agree too. These things are just playing with us, and we kind of have that indication from some people who have had their experiences that they're not serious about it. They're playful, something like a jokester, etc. So the Seer Star is fun. E, thank you. I will have some more. I went out imaging and I got the Flame Nebula. That's the nebula in the Orion constellation that is above the Horsehead Nebula. And then I did the Wizard Nebula. I haven't had a chance to do any post-production, but it is a really fun telescope. It gets me out looking for UFOs, enjoying the cosmos. So what we have to do, oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I try to, I try to kick out good information as I can. Yeah, I will be making a video. I was up till 2:00 this morning out there imaging with it. So I will, when I get that post-production done, then I will get it on here. It's fun. And okay, why don't we do a quick survey real quick? If you would help me out here, my audience, you guys, hey, quit talking and pay attention for just a moment. Then you can ignore me and keep talking to each other. Are you interested in when I go look for UFOs? I did have my night vision binoculars last night, and I spent 10 minutes scanning the sky. I only did a 10-minute clip. But are you interested in me posting that kind of stuff, even though I don't see any anomalies? Or is that a waste of time? I know there are people who are so impatient that if I don't show them a UFO, they don't want to see anything else. I understand that, but life itself is a process. Immersing ourselves in the cosmos is a process. So if you want me to show you what it takes, I'll be happy to. Or I'm also happy to just wait until I get what I consider to be a really valid anomaly, and I'll just show you that. So it's up to you. Oh, yes, I always give commentary on the stars, and that's half the fun of it. Yeah, I will do that. Absolutely. Oh, okay. Well, it looks like there's a lot of you saying yes. Okay, good, because I'm happy to do that. I will be really, truly. It's so much fun for me to anticipate sharing it with you. And I do talk about the stars in this video. I went to Orion because I was doing the Flame Nebula, so I showed the belt stars, and I saw some whoop-de-doos. Honestly, I'm just trying to keep it real. I promise. I don't suspect they were UFOs. They were satellites. However, some of them little buggers are quick. They go right across the screen. They kind of surprised me. A couple of them. Wow. So yeah, I'll be happy to. I will be happy to do that. And UFO Busters, that UFO show in Australia, he's got cameras on the sky too. Check his site out as you can. We can all learn from the stars, BYP. I like that thinking. You will be a raging success in life, I hope and pray. No, that approach is the approach we need, sincerely. Look, this is a serious enough subject, right? I mean, the UFOs, the stars, the cosmos. This is a serious enough subject. Oh, by the way, DuckTales is the t-shirt for the night. That's right. Scrooge McDuck, DuckTales, Disney. Woohoo! I wish I had his money. I'd buy better equipment. So, but we got to have fun. We've got to enjoy ourselves. And sure, yeah, we can take it serious, but we also need to have some fun. And there's nothing wrong with playing a little. Just because we don't see a UFO for, 5 or 6 or 7 videos doesn't mean it's a complete waste of time. But I recognize there are people who do say that. They say, oh, if you can't show a UFO, I don't want to waste my time just watching you watch the stars. Well, that's your choice. But I do a lot more than just look at the stars as I can. So reach for the stars. Yes, Randy Bean. I entirely agree with you. While we wait, can you tell us about your background? How you got involved with UAPs? It might be in one of your previous videos, but I've not gone back that far. Melanie Lefeur. Thank you. Welcome to the channel, by the way. Welcome to the live. My background with UAPs goes way back when I was a preteen. My oldest brother worked in the post office, and he was very, very interested in the stars because he had the graveyard shift in the post office. And so his lunch breaks and his breaks were at night when he could go out and look at the stars. Hold on, this might be them. I'm going to mute the mic real quick. I'll be right back. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, that was my friend who got me in touch with the Tedescos. They've got a hold of their dad, so we'll see. We'll find out one way or the other. Anyway, my oldest brother would go out and watch the stars all the time, and he got very, very interested in astronomy. He subscribed to all of the astronomy magazines. He started reading the books, and he was astounded at the astronauts who went to the moon those many, many times in the 1960s and 70s, late 60s, early 70s. He was astounded that some of the information that they talked about having UFOs guiding them to the moon was deleted from their radio discussions, or when the books came out and they were talking about them, they said there was a hush-hush secrecy, and that intrigued him, and he began telling me all about it. And so I got very interested in UFOs. I do believe the astronauts, when they did tell NASA, when they were flying to the moon the first time, they said, hey, headquarters, we've got a saucer out here taking us to the moon, guiding us. And they told them, they said, no, you can't say that. Call it Santa Claus. Say you see Santa Claus. I think that's what my brother told me. And so they quickly developed a code word protocol for the UFOs. Well, my brother was telling me all about this, and we would go out. He got a telescope, and we would look at the stars and all that. And so I've been off and on. Now, I have not been steady at it like, say, Richard Dolan or Danny Sheehan, but off and on throughout the course of my life, I've known about UAPs. And this recent spat, I really decided, with the congressional hearings going on, and with my wife watches so many programs while I'm at work, and she tells me about them, and especially with this Danny Sheehan information that he presented, and then the hearings, and then the TikTok. and we watched Joe Rogan. We watched Fravor on Joe Rogan, and that did it for me. I said, oh my gosh, I've got to look into this. So that's basically my background. So thank you for asking. Off and on, I've always been interested. I'm not as well in the know as a Richard Dolan is, but I'm not as good as most, but I'm not as far behind as some people would think. So we're all good. Yeah. And let me just say too, we live not only in a great place on this earth, but we are so fortunate to live right now. For instance, the pillars of creation. Those pillars of creation in the Eagle Nebula in Serpens. Now, you can't see it until, what is it, October? I think that November is the best time, and I will be taking pictures of them, and I will be talking about them as well. I'm going to be giving a lecture on them in the Astronomy Club next month because they're just so fascinating to me. But there are some ideas that the pillars of creation, now, they are many, many, many light years away from us. So what we're seeing is the light that we're seeing now, the image that we're seeing of them now is what was had millions and millions and millions of years in the past. They may not be there. They may have already been destroyed, but the light we're seeing is young enough to show us what they did look like back then. So we're living in a time where we can see things like the pillars of creation, like the Wizard Nebula, like that fantastic Orion Nebula, my very first photograph I took with the Sea Star. And then I've taken a few others. But the dynamics of the cosmos, because things are so ghastly far away, and they really are. It's mind-numbing how big this cosmos is. Everything we see is in the past. So that kind of, the perspective and the humility that we've got to have is really important, because we just don't have that much knowledge of the universe. In fact, hold on, I'm going to do a backyard professor trick on you. I'm going to move away from the field, from the screen, and see if I can find this book real quick. There's a new book out just a couple of years ago that is absolutely blowing my mind, and I have talked about this book before, and it is a very important book without question. We have no idea. A Guide to the Unknown Universe. Now, the interesting thing about this, the gentleman who wrote this, Daniel Whiteson, he's a professor of experimental particle physics at the University of California, yes, Irvine. And he is a fellow of the American Physics Society. He conducts research using the Large Hadron Collider at CERN. So the man is legit, and he is vastly more knowledgeable at physics and cosmology and particle physics, quantum physics, Einsteinian physics, etc. And he says literally that we know less than 4% of the entire universe. And from my opinion, that's actually overly optimistic. Now, that's not to denigrate us. It's not to chop us down and say, yeah, we're just a bunch of ignorant simpletons. But the fact is, we really are just a bunch of ignorant simpletons. And the universe is vaster than we can imagine. And that vastness is all hidden. And so we continually learn. But the time we're in right now, we have the ability to learn and see about how stars form, about how galaxies form. We have seen two neutron stars collide with each other. Now, a neutron star is when a star goes supernova and sheds its outer core of material. The Crab Nebula seen in 1054 in China is one such example. There's a small little white neutron star in the center of that magnificent nebula. The Eye of God that I showed a couple weeks ago with my good friend Richard Mongold is another example. That neutron star, the weight of gravity, the atoms crunch down and the protons and electrons mash into and form nothing but neutrons, and it is a super dense, very hot star. They run into each other, and who knows? Our Voyager, because of the slingshot effect, I believe it used Saturn to slingshot it out into interstellar space. I believe it's going about 38,000 miles an hour. Well, the neutron stars could be doing hundreds of thousands of miles an hour and run into each other. The two they identified and saw do that, of course, it happened way in the past. They calculate that collision made enough gold out there in space to completely fill Earth's oceans. And those goodies are scattered. That's how we got every item of metal you see on our planet came from supernova or collisions of gigantic planets, stars, what have you. And they've been scattered throughout space for billions and billions of years. Through physics with gravitational influence, etc., the Earth has ended up with a lot of different types of elements. Some of the rare earth elements that we use in our computers are called rare earth because there's not as much of them as there is, say, silver, copper, etc. Now, the interesting thing is gold we value here. The scripture says the streets of heaven is paved with gold. If you believe in God and all that stuff, he can make the gold. And so there is so much of it. It's like blacktop to us. He just paves the streets with it. But for us here on this earth, it's rare enough that it's the most expensive metal, right? Well, there's quadrillions of ton of it out there. And it's for free. Nobody owns it. All you have to do is build a spaceship. Elon Musk, convince him to send you out there to pick up all that gold. It'll only take you 150 trillion years to get there and 150 trillion years to get back. But once you're back here, you can spend it to your heart's content. You'll be the richest man in the solar system. This is stuff that we can learn because we live right now in the correct time. We learn the impact of dust. Yeah, I don't mean to sweep it out of your house, but yeah, dust, interstellar dust, quadrillions and trillions and trillions of ton of it, and how that forms planets, or how it obscures our vision. So we learn how to use infrared like the Tedesco brothers do. And we use the infrared and we can see through the dust lanes and see into the heart of our own galaxy, the Milky Way. Because we live right now, all of the constellations are the shape they are that we get a look at. You do realize that the classic Greek stories of Hercules and his 12 labors in the ancient Greek materials. Robert Graves in his Greek myths talks about it. He describes each one of the 12 labors. That's Hercules, who is going through the zodiac. What they're doing is they're looking at the constellations and they're making stories so that they could learn what part of the sky the constellations were in, which constellation was next to which constellation, and they used that information to sail the seas safely, go the right direction. Big Dipper stars point to the North Star, etc. Right? It's only because of the time era we live in that all of this knowledge can occur. It's within our lifetimes, pretty much, that we just first learned about pulsars and quasars and some of the really wild, weird objects up there in the sky, including black holes and gravity waves just recently. This is just in the last, I'm not quite sure. Hold on, let me check. I will look this up right here, right now. When did we first detect gravity waves? The first direct detection of gravitational waves predicted by the general theory of relativity, September 14th, 2015. Just a decade ago. And I mean, gravity waves, you guys, that is freaky. That is weird because according to Einstein, gravity is just curved space. We still don't have a handle on it, by the way. We're still trying to figure out what it is, and we're not so sure what it is, but we're still trying to figure that out. But yeah, just in the last 10 years. So this is quite remarkable. I guess what I'm getting at is in our society, I detect an impatience. Yeah, right. I'm guilty of this. Okay. I'll fess up. I'm one of them. But really, if you let that get out of hand to where you say, I want it and I want it now, you're going to so short circuit yourself because one, our limitations, our brains don't react instantly all the time. You don't just pick up a calculus book and look at each page without doing hundreds and hundreds, and I mean hundreds, if not thousands, of calculus problems just in order to learn how to do calculus. You don't just look through it real quick and say, okay, now I know calculus. Even if you wanted to, that's not how it works. Same thing with studying astronomy. Same thing with learning how to take photographs of the sky, astroastronomy, photography. So, and I get impatient, and sometimes I probably negatively influence people when I say, you say you can do this. Well, we should have this, and this right now. And so in a way, I somewhat mislead because of my impatience. And that causes me to where I say, all right, hold on. I have to backpedal a little bit. That's not even realistic. And so my ultimate hope is finding out what is real. So really, in a way, you want to give everybody who is trying to figure out the phenomenon, you want to give them a chance. So we support everyone in the community. And that's hard to do, man. I get it. There's some who won't. Okay, that's cool, I think. But I will. I will because I want to find out what they're finding out. Hey, I may not like them. I may not like how they look. Maybe they smell funny. They talk weird. I'm jealous of them. It's a petty jealousy because they have a better telescope than me. Damn them, etc. And I should be the one out there doing this. And instead it's them for any myriad number of reasons. So we get to stabbing people and telling them, no, we don't like their work. And no, they're just a psyop, etc. We accuse them of all kinds of ridiculous, stupid things that we technically don't really know. we're just stabbing in the dark also, and we're guilty of obfuscating the issue. Sometimes you've just got to let them work. Look, the cumulative effect of Chris Bledsoe's work is really becoming powerful. And I saw one of the most astonishing comments just the other day. Oh, Bledsoe again? Well, those are just orbs. Those are boring. Really? So why don't you describe all the physics you've learned about them and tell us how the hell they're even existing and the characteristics of their movement, their appearance, and they're boring? The only way that can be boring is if you yourself are boring. These are lights up in the sky that change shape, and that's boring. Well, maybe you better go back to watching television science fiction if reality is boring to you. This new reality, I can't grasp that. To me, it's always exciting. Oh, you're going to look at the stars again? Haven't you done that for 4 nights now? How boring. That mindset really isn't going to get you very far in life. I wish you the best of luck, but for the rest of us, I guess I'm advocating for an all-inclusive support. And that's hard to do because some legitimately have become grifters. I hate to even use that word. I get it. But that doesn't mean everybody is. I'm not going to begrudge an author for writing a book about his experience, because I wrote a book when I was a scroll saw artist. And if people called me a grifter, I would laugh at them. I would trade you your paycheck any day for the meager amount of money I made off that scroll saw book. But it was so much fun to do. And it was so delightful to get to know new people who I interacted with because of that book. That's why I would write a book, because I got news for you. Nobody, let me repeat this, I speak from experience. I'm an author. Nobody gets rich writing books on UFOs. Nobody. Publishers take 99% right up front. I'll say that again because I did not say that incorrectly. Publishers take 99% right up front, and they leave you 1% unless it becomes a New York Times bestseller, and then they take extra more. So nobody's, I saw Richard Dolan being criticized. Well, all he's doing is writing books. Come on. That's so unfair to him. He's doing so much more than just writing books. The Tedescos, oh, well, they're grifters. They just write books. Bullshit. Have you even bothered to read the book? This is one of the great scientific texts on UFOs in all of print. Seriously, you'd be doing yourself a favor to understand the incredibly interesting intricacies and the fascinating locations and the way the instrumentation works. They lost money on this book. I've got news for you. They put in color photographs. That's not a grifter. I got news for you. To keep the price affordable And to be able, and they didn't put just one or two color photographs. They put in hundreds of color photographs. I've got news for you. The publisher took way more than 99% because that gets forbidden in cost. These guys didn't make a dime off this, I'm suspecting. They're doing it for the pure love of sharing information and maybe some hints, some ideas on, oh, hey, you want to go look for UFOs? Why don't you try to get this type of equipment and this one? Maybe not as expensive as we have, but here's how this equipment functions. Here's how you use it, etc. I mean, I love that. But to say that because they authored a book, they're grifters is simply wrong. They're not grifters. They're out there getting the work done. So, and that's a rant and rave I've been wanting to make now for several weeks. So thank you for indulging me right now. So, okay. And I told you my background a little bit. Boy, I'm way behind. You guys are talking like crazy. That's awesome. We're all made of star stuff. Literally. Yeah. Nah, you're all good. And there's a lot of, the Grand Canyon looks like it was a massive mine of some kind. Actually, the Grand Canyon, according to the Hopis, and that's that book, The Orion Zone by Gary David that I reviewed a month or so ago. The Hopis say that the Kachina came from the third world into the fourth world, and their place of emergence is at the Grand Canyon. I think that's fascinating. That is really fascinating. So, yeah, there's something more to it than just, oh, gee, Paul Bunyan drug his axe. You remember that story as kids? Oh, how was the Grand Canyon formed? Paul Bunyan was out walking with Babe the Blue Ox, and he drug his axe because he was so tired from chopping trees, and it chopped through the land. That's kind of fun. Now, see, that's a story, right? That's technically not history. Yeah, we are all too impatient. So it's all good, though, because we all learn our lessons. Okay. Have you heard of the unclassified CIA document where about 20 soldiers were turned to stone by beings from a UAP? No, I have not. Okay, here's a question. Fantomas Fanto, thank you for your question. Are there any books about UFOs in Siberia? Thank you for your knowledge and channel. Well, thank you for being here. I sincerely don't know much about Siberia. I truly don't know. I'll tell you what I'm willing to do, though. Let's look it up real quick. So here's the question. Are there any books about UFOs selling in Siberia? The Soviet UFO Files, Paranormal Encounters Behind the Iron Curtain. Oh, this is a book sold on Amazon. The Soviet UFO Files describes the history of Russian experiences with UFOs. So, hey, that's kind of cool, right? Bright, well-defined color and somewhat hazy black and white. Another book they have is called Russia's Roswell Incident and Other Amazing UFO Cases from Russia. We don't have too many books about UFOs from Russia. This is a great book to learn about UFOs in Russia. That's on Amazon.com. You might check them out. $42. They say it's in stock. It's got a 4.3 star rating out of 74 judgments. That's pretty good. Ooh. Goodreads has The Siberian Incident by Greg Beck. Lots of action, a fun read. The Nature of the Aliens was interesting. The book made me do some internet researches on Siberian geography. Hey, that's kind of cool. Looks like NBC News has had a news story where Russians add new twist to old UFO myth. New book details, this was on PBS. New book details U.S. government's UFO investigations and search, etc. Oh, and they're actually saying, the big explosion in Tungusia or wherever it was, the Great Siberian Explosion, was actually by a UFO, not a meteorite or a comet. That's kind of interesting. So it appears that there are some, the Soviet UFO files. They have a book called Travels in Siberia. Somebody probably had some UFO experiences. So yeah, there might be a little bit. So that's kind of fun. So yeah, thanks. Great question. I love hearing about the Hopi too. Yeah. Hey, Peta. Yeah. I have a question. Oh yeah, I answered that question. Professor, do you know Kenny Biddle? He wrote for a science magazine. He go give talks on UFO, Bigfoot, the paranormal. I have not heard of Kenny Biddle. I'm not aware of him. I will look him up. Just for fun, I will go check him out. Okay. Hi, Shelley, 1957. Okay, everyone look up the Citizens Hearing on UFO Disclosure 2013. This is Sam Barton. 5 ex-senators into UFO 5-day event, including Richard Greer, Chinese. It was not very public. Look it up. So that's the Citizens Hearing on UFO Disclosure 2013. So thank you for that information. Yeah, Tunguska. Thank you, Firefly. Yep, that was the place. Oh, William Milburn, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. BYP, you and your channel gets me thinking about life and the unknown. Thank you, sir. My very good pleasure. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, I mean, it makes it funner or more fun. I don't know if funner is a real word. I'll have to think about that. Oh, sure. Absolutely. I'm happy to look up suggestions. You betcha. Oh, thank you, Curious. That's very kind of you. There's a Russian star child. He takes on other people's personality and sees the future and mind reads with aliens, so they reckon. Oh, that's interesting. That's our friend UFO Busters from Australia. Firefly says Jake Barber from Skywatcher is going to show us interdimensional electric jellyfish tomorrow. Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what it is they're talking about. That's so crazy. Come on. It sounds bizarre. So, I get it. A certain emphasis on skepticism is entirely warranted until we see the quality of the video, right? And that's what I indicated in a couple of videos a couple of days ago. Is I said, he said it was going to take him a year. I'm good with that. I think I'll give him the time, but this part 2 has to be really good. Right. So I hope the jellyfish isn't as bad as the egg, or I'm really going to cry for him, man. So, oh, hey, UFO Busters. Yeah. You think it's a UFO that blew up in Tunguska too, huh? Yeah. That's actually a new, I say new advisedly. It's a very interesting. Oh, thank you, Crypto Kev, for the donation. Been following you for a while. Enjoy your work. More people involved with investigations, the better. Great work. Great touch. Thank you. That's very kind of you. I appreciate it. So look into 1.6 gigahertz. Yeah, and it could be a nothing burger. I get that too. But on the other hand, we don't know yet. So to prejudge it, that's kind of what I was talking about. Yeah, we get critical and we get impatient, but we don't know yet until we see the video. So I'm going to give it a chance. I'll look. We'll see. And yes, I might be I'm really hoping he gives me a reason to rejoice and praise him this time, because last time I lost a lot of subscribers because I spoke what I felt. And I spoke the truth as I understood it. And people think I should be more politically correct. Bullshit. I want reality and the truth. I'm not interested in speaking to please everybody. One, because that's impossible. But man, if I'm disappointed, I'll let you know. If it's good, I will sing its praises off the housetops. But the bottom line is the reality, right? So that's how it works. Okay. That's a Heiser Soze. That's a good point. Let me read your comment out loud. Thanks. I hold no preconceptions or fear of disappointment with Skywatcher. It's all just more data. All right, legit. I like that. Good point. Truly, yeah. Okay, I will try to keep that in mind. That's actually, that's interesting because it's a safe approach, but it's also it's realistic because that is what it is. More data, whether it's good or bad, is irrelevant. We can always judge the data based on our own desire and wish, and that leads to confirmation bias. So we must be really careful with that. But yeah, good point. It is all data, and that is what we have to deal with. So I like that. I like that. Thank you for sharing. That's cool. Yeah, and the egg wasn't Jake Barber's video. Exactly. Please, God, let this video be theirs. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you right here on my live program, and everybody can refer back to this and say, "Oh, wait, backyard professor said this." But if so help me, if the jellyfish or whatever videos they show tomorrow night, I think it's tomorrow night or the Tuesday. I think he said the 7th, if I remember right. But whatever videos they show, please, God, let it be their own this time. Really. They've got to pick up the credibility, in my opinion, sincerely. I'm rooting for them. I am. But, man, please pick it up. Get better. Right. And see, I'm not trying to be hypocritical because I have to improve my own stuff too. So, and I'm willing to try. So, all right. So there we are. Yep. Okay. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I can't do anything else. I've been that way. But in fact, because I speak my mind, quite frankly, many of my papers in college, my research papers in history, I got A's and A pluses for, and many of them I got smacked for. So, it all comes out in the wash. I survived. Hey, I even put my heart and soul into my bachelor's thesis. I say thesis. It wasn't a bachelor paper. I was actually invited up to Billings, Montana, to present the paper. It was on the Dead Sea Scrolls teacher of righteousness. Who was he? And I went so gung-ho on that my Renaissance professor said, this is absolutely one of the best papers I've ever seen in my life. This is fantastic. Come up to Billings with us and present it at the Pacific Northwest Historical Conference or something like that. So a lot of fun. But yeah, they either like it or they can't stand me, and I get it. I don't mean to offend anyone, truly, but I'm also not going to lick your frickin' boots either. So I do speak my mind. There you go, Bruce Mace. I agree with you. I will acknowledge I will honor your art. You sometimes need to think before you react so negatively. Amen, brother. Correct. And I will be the first to admit that. Yes, agreed. Sometimes I'm too quick off the trigger. Yep. Yeah, the anguish of being disappointed by UFO stories. I get it. I do too. Well, Sam, yeah, you're asking jellyfish. It's what they call it. Um, I think because of the shape and the way it moves and stuff. I don't think it's an actual jellyfish. It's just a really, it's just a really weird shape, right? For a UFO, it's certainly not a flying saucer that's aerodynamic, right? Of course, and in space, they don't need to be aerodynamic. There's no friction out in space with air. So, in a way, that might be an argument that whoever is flying those saucers around our skies actually originate from here. They've just been here so much longer that they've been able to develop the technology to have transmedium craft being able to fly through the ocean and then go up into the air. For that reason, they would need an aerodynamic craft like a saucer. But if the jellyfish thing isn't from here, it doesn't matter what shape you are, you can still get through space. That's kind of fun to think about. Hold on, let me check and see if this is for me. I don't see that it is. All right. Nope, not yet. Okay, good. So, I'm hopeful that, like the Tedesco brothers, it's more than just a video and they back up with scientific equipment data. Heiser Soze, you win the comment of the day. Exactly. Now, and this is, it's what endears us all to the Tedesco brothers, because they are willing. And I mean, you guys, it's really in good detail too. They go into the hertz and megahertz and the 50 ohm termination impedance of the spectrum analyzer. They get into it. They describe just what is. They'll show you the charts. And then you go, oh, that's cool looking, but I don't understand what the hell it means. And then they describe how this figure demonstrates how field strength measurements differ based on unit antenna and analyzer loading. Now, don't tell me you understood that. None of us understand that, but they're willing to put it out and give us the engineer capable knowledge, and we can go back and study it through ourselves. That is what makes the Tedescos pure gold, because other engineers are coming around and saying, that was cool, right? And so the rest of us have to catch up with them. But I so agree with you, brother. Yeah, let's get the good video, the good photos, and let's get the good data. Absolutely. I love it, Cynical Banana. The older I get, the less I give a bleep about what I say. Within reason, of course. I'm right there with you, brother. Yeah, once I turned 64, I said, oh, hey, man, I can just express myself any way I want to, because who gives a flying flip? I don't. Who am I going to impress, right? I mean, why do I care, right? Come on, it kind of gives you an incentive to enjoy aging older. That's an optimistic way to look, So, yeah. Yeah, what's everyone's thoughts on Jason Sands? Volcom Maid, how are you? You rock. Thank you for all your encouragement and support and all. I'll tell you what I think of Jason Sands. Nothing against the man personally. I've heard a couple of different ideas. Now, see, here we go. I'm not trying to repeat gossip, because even the ideas that I've heard might be incorrect. They are somewhat at odds with each other. I myself have a reserve about him. And I don't have anything personal against him, but I can't just buy it, what he's saying. So, great question. Thanks for asking. I will, UFO busters. Yeah, I will always speak my mind, I promise. And I will slow down also, and I will begin to try to think through some things before reacting. I mean, my wife has been telling me that for how many years? You'd think I'd learn, right? So, yeah, Craig William, good question. Where does the jellyfish thing originate? Ugh, this stuff. I'm with you. Yeah, so far as I'm aware, and I honestly haven't put a lot of time into the study, but there is a video that's going around, and Mick West has had a lot of fun trying to debunk this. And it looks like just a blob that's floating through the air. Jake Barber says the jellyfish isn't actually like that in their videos. It'll be fun to see and compare. So, yeah, I honestly don't know where it originates, but yeah, I'm not impressed with it as much as some people are. I'll put it that way. Hey, Zelf Bones, good to see you. Yeah, general conference for aliens today. Yeah. Have I read Robert Hastings' book yet? The Tonkela asks. No, I have not. Am I supposed to be? I apologize if that's true. I've run into some complications. I can't buy books for a little while. I'm quite short on money right now. Yeah. Oh. Team World UAP disclosure. Love it. Yeah, that'd be nice, huh? Not to throw a bolt into the engine. Well, then don't, Firefly. But what if all this should turn out to be supernatural? I don't see that as throwing a bolt into the engine at all. This is, from my opinion, we really do have to kind of keep that one on the table for right now. And as distasteful as it is, I would imagine for quite a few, it's not about what's tasteful and what's distasteful. It's about what's real and what's not. My particular slant on that, I'm not going to be surprised if it is supernatural. And please forgive me, I'm not trying to blaspheme. That is not my intention, but there's a big part of me that wants it to be natural, right? But I'm okay with it if it is supernatural. I mean, it's not going to ruin my life, right? So, yeah, no, that's a great question. Thanks for asking. Fabulous question, actually. Okay, Petta. Well, welcome to 40 years old. I remember when I was 40. That feels like ancient history. Boy. Okay, Snack Entity. Something is a bit off about Jason Sands, but I'm open to his claims. Okay. Yeah, I'm, how do I word it? I don't know if I'm open to him, but I'm not close to him. Does that make sense? I'm honestly not trying to be hypocritical here. It's just, it's it's complicated. I don't know what I think, right? Oh, hey, yeah, Valiant Loki, the MH370 case is too good to be ignored. And they're reopening that, aren't they? They're beginning to look at it again. Ashton Forbes, there's a man, has the videos and has made a solid case for teleportation tech being used to disappear the plane. Yeah, I've watched a little bit of that. Yeah, that's fascinating. On the other hand, if you are saying that with the idea of supporting the supernatural, it may not be, because teleportation may not have anything to do with supernatural. Now, I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but we just got done talking about the supernatural. So if you're not, it's cool. It's all good. If you are, be a little cautious that way. I personally don't see teleportation as having to be something supernatural, in other words, right? It might just be a tech that we're not, up to speed on. So. Oh, thank you, Sam Barton. You're very kind. You stud, you. Hey, Heiser Soze is saying, just saw a new interview of Sands tonight with Darcy Ware on Podcast UFO, and he sounded nervous. Part of that might be because of with his interview, was it Dory or was it? No, it wasn't Jess Michael. It might have been with Dory when he had, who's the one that did the documentary? James Fox. Jason Sands was with James Fox in an interview, and James Fox really put the squelch on the discussion of Jason Sands being ordered to kill the aliens after he interrogated them and they were done with him, so now kill them. James Fox wouldn't have anything to do with that. And he specifically said, I want credibility. You're not going to bring that subject up or I am out that door. I mean, he was quite definitive. And so I think that's some of where Sands' nervousness might be coming from. And Sands backed down. He said, yeah, okay. I won't talk about it. So yeah, there's some tension there. So I know this is so weird, but look, I mean, we're having a fun discussion with it. Yeah, I get it. Heiser asks if Barber's jellyfish is like the weird smoky jellyfish sightings. I have no idea what those are. I don't know. Is that the one I was talking about that's going around on YouTube? And didn't it make one or two of the news stories also? I don't know. Are the jellyfish smokable? I love your guys' sense of humor. You rock, man. I agree, Cynical Banana. Yeah, you say it better than I did. Yeah, supernatural or not, the truth is the truth, whatever it turns out to be, right? Yeah. Looked into the PK Man. Neo Vandeveld talking about supernatural. Did you look into the PK Man? No. I'm going to show my ignorance here. What is the PK Man? That's interesting. Okay, Snack Entity. Interesting point. Consider what we called supernatural, religious, occult, spiritual in different eras and contexts are all parts of the same thing we're seeing now. Yeah. The more things change, the more they stay the same type thing. That's interesting. Good question, Bruce. Bruce May. Scientifically, what would be supernatural definition? Beyond natural? Kind of like metaphysical is beyond the physics, maybe? Good question. I don't know. There you go, Snack Entity. Good point. Yeah. I have no problem holding a claim in suspension. No believing it, but not disbelieving it. Yeah. Well, and two, that kind of comes across now. There's so many scientists, or at least a few, who are now beginning to say we've got to get used to living with ambiguity because very precious little has been ironed out to where it's all smooth and all of our P's and Q's are straightened out. We've got all our I's crossed and our T's dotted. Yes, I said that deliberately. I'm just seeing if you're paying attention. So, no, that's in my opinion, that's a healthy mentality right there, Snack Entity. Good job. Uh, yeah, Sam Barton, the tech being hidden could make us younger. Yeah, I mean, I've heard of that. There's all kinds of interesting rumors of what the tech could be, and isn't that part of the reason why we public? Now we're paying our taxes. I mean, if we don't have a right to know, then stop. Get your frickin' hand out of my wallet. I'm happy to pay my taxes, help the country keep moving. But if I do, then I should be in on what to know more than I am, right? So, I mean, that's part of where our anger wells up about the government. But I'm with you. Would you like Skywatcher and Skinwalker Ranch to team up? Stacy Williams, what a question. I want Skywatcher to do their thing to the best of their ability and give us the data, and please make the videos credible and the pictures. And I mean, you guys are touting the psionics team. That's really awesome if it's really for real, but let's see you use it to the maximum effect, and let's get some data that we can all sink our teeth into. Don't worry about forming alliances and going off on other weird stuff. Get your job done. You claim psionically you can call craft in and maybe perhaps land it and pick it up, and you will show us the craft. That's what I want Skywatcher to do. Just stay on mission, in my opinion. And if others differ, that's all good. It's all good. I'm not here to tell them what to do. They aren't going to listen to me anyway, right? So, Ed Kane. It's been supernatural for 5K years, but we're a lot smarter now. Oh, interesting perspective. Yeah, interesting. Okay. Volcomer made. Anyone watch what Darcy Weir said about Sands? I honestly have not. No matter how you slice it, Azrael Aries says, no matter how you slice it, God is technically an alien. God made Earth, so God isn't an earthling. Interesting. Yeah. We call it God, but it could be alien. Yeah. That's interesting. Oh, yes. Last night, Weir and Dory. Great interview. I'll have to go check that out. Thank you for the heads up on it. What's your opinion on the telepathy tapes, BYP? Jeff. Yeah, now this is interesting because someone took me to task, and I thought about it and thought, that's actually a valid point somewhat. I'm a little bit sketchy, contradictory myself on my own stance. My suspicion is because I'm trying to maintain an open mind. And if I don't have the same types of experiences and knowledge that others do and claim you can have and all, then I'm probably going to end up being less than enthusiastic about doing their thing. I have heard ideas on the telepathy tapes based on the audio. I think it's pretty good. But I've heard that the video shows something entirely different, which is why they chose not to do the video. That can be disappointing. So help me, if Skywatcher ever pulls that kind of shenanigan, I will immediately excommunicate them and I will eviscerate them to the end of their days. So heads up, my friends at Skywatcher, please keep legit. Now, I'm not accusing the telepathy tapes of being illegit. But it was kind of an interesting question mark. How come all we have is audio? Because the video shows them coaching the kids. It's not the same. So I'm kind of like in suspended animation on it at this point. Not in favor, not disfavorable. I have to look into it deeper. I'll put it that way. So, but yeah, great question. That's why I brought up Sands. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. No, this is good stuff to talk through. Fundamentally so. Awesome. That's why you're such a damn good audience. I have the best audience of all the podcasters. Yeah, I'm not the biggest one, but who cares? I've got the best people, right? Okay, so Cynical Banana, possibly. Arthur C. Clarke, I presume you're talking about, because that's what he said, had the right idea. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So correct and accurate is so much. Yeah. I mean, there's no point in arguing against that. Yeah, Arthur C. Clarke. Yep. Nope, that's right. So Bruce May says, what I meant is supernatural, an alternate universe dimension. Oh, okay. Thanks for clarifying. And once again, yeah, we, yeah. How many dimensions are there? You know, right? Yeah. No, I'm with you. String theory. What was the last number of dimensions they were talking about? I heard 10 there for a while, and the Kabbalists got real excited. They said, see, that parallels the 10 Sephirot on the tree of life. But then I think they bumped it up to 11, some cases 12, depending on which math you did, you know. So, yeah, I mean, it could be a dimension. Donald Hoffman says this headset, meaning our cosmos, that has been put over us, over our conscious, isn't all that big of a deal because it only is 3, maybe 4 dimensional. Why doesn't it have 1,000,000 dimensions? You know, let's get real wild and extravagant. This one we're in is rather conservative and blasé compared to what could be. And I thought, wow. I mean, it's as fascinating as I'm finding the cosmos and the incredible depth of space and some of the size of these super giant stars being 1,000,000 times heavier than our sun, stuff like that kind of boggles your mind. And then Hoffman comes along and says, oh yeah, that's just blasé. Interesting. So, okay. I should interview, Heiser Soze says, I should interview Paul Wallace sometime and do a show on the ancient history of the Elohim and other ancient texts. Are you guys interested in that kind of stuff? I used to be in depth in that for decades. I have all kinds of stuff on the ancient Elohim and ancient texts. I'm serious. Yeah. NHI is not new, regardless of what government wants us to believe. Absolutely. I'm with you, Heiser. Yeah, I mean, if you know, the moment I start doing that, I lose half my audience. There's 2 things you can't do if you want to make YouTube content. You can't talk politics because the truth is so offensive in politics that half your audience will leave you and the other half will not like you. And you can't talk ancient religion and ancient UFOs, or half your audience will. I mean, it's astonishing how dumbed down, freaking stupid we become and how brainwashed we are as a species. Oh, he thinks differently than me. I don't want to listen to him. I'm going to unsubscribe. What an idiotic approach. What, you mean if the professor at college teaches you something new, you're going to quit the class? What a dumbass approach. But that's the reality we're in right now. Right? Watch. I'll lose some subscribers for saying what I just said. Yeah. People are funny, man. All right. Diamonds and Things. Have you heard of the documentary called The Underground with Phil Schneider? Don't believe so. Now, Professor, nobody likes paying taxes. That's not true. Our society as a whole contributing to that through taxes to keep our roads safe in the winter times, to fill in the potholes, etc. All of society uses it. Therefore, we all contribute. I'm all for that. I really am, seriously. It's what helps it's the unnecessary taxes for the stupid bullshit trillions of dollars in secret military stuff I am adamantly opposed against. So, Okay, come on, Skywatcher. Stop making me laugh, guys, and just bring them down. UFO busters. I can't argue with that. And again, they made the claim, so I hold them to it. Yeah. So, hey, there you go. BYP is the Skywatcher watcher. I'm not trying to watch him in order to trip him up or find something wrong or criticize him. I just want him to maintain consistency because I really want to see these guys succeed. Just like I want to see the Tedesco brothers succeed. I want to succeed. I want absolutely every one of you, if you're looking for UAPs and you're looking at the skies, I want everyone to succeed. You know, I just hope it goes that way. So, yeah. I have thought about that a lot. What if the whole universe is just one cell in a body of some kind? I had that discussion with my best friend when we were both about 12, sleeping out in sleeping bags in the backyard, looking up at the sky and stars all night, watching the meteors go by. And yeah, that, that's a possibility. Kind of freaky, huh? Doug, see, this is why you guys as an audience so rocking awesome. Douglas Adams had it right. The answer is 42. Heiser Soze, you get a gold forehead on your star. Oh, yeah, David and I noticed that. Jake Barber is now downplaying summoning a UFO to land. He hopes they can do it in the Cold Hard interview. I noticed that too. Now, to be fair, Jake didn't make the claim. Michael Batista did. But yeah, I get it. They're new and excited. They want to be part of the team. They want to have their values. So maybe they're exaggerating their claim and all. We're all new at this, more or less. So I agree. I'll still give them the chance, but they gotta hurry. They gotta pick it up and get real right now, starting part 2. Yeah, I'm with you though, truly. Yeah. Okay. Hi, Tim Wagner. I'm gonna massacre your name. I truly don't mean to. Tim Wagniao. Think I'll be ever able to interview Richard Dolan on your program? Oh, that would rock. I would sincerely enjoy that. If I can afford to get to Contact in the Desert this year, I will ask him for his contact information and see if I can get him on. It's kind of iffy. I've had some unexpected expenses come up that are just killing me. We'll see what happens, but yeah, I would like to. That's certainly on the plan. He would be fun to have. He's always so articulate and such a gentleman and so calm and well dressed. I mean, he is the cat's meow. Come on, that's how it is. I told someone, oh, Firefly, this is hilarious. Hope you don't mind if I read it. I told someone that interdimensional electric jellyfish were coming tomorrow, and they thought it a new sci-fi on Netflix. That's too good. I love it. Oh, my good pleasure. I will do that, Peta. Absolutely. Interviewed Daniel McAdams, Craig William, from the Ron Paul Institute neocons. I'll look into that. Anunnaki. Yeah, that's a big thing. Thanks for asking. Oh, sure. We'll watch the show later. Have to go walk with my German Shepherd. Great show. Thank you, Bruce Mace. Appreciate the support. I actually prefer shows where you dig out books and do deep dives. All right. I will do more of those. I mean, it's not like I lack material, right? All right. Yeah. I'll accommodate you, my friend. I personally love doing that too. I mean, I didn't spend 20,000 flipping dollars on books to let them sit there gracing a shelf looking good. I want to read them and share them, right? So, Purple Cream Music Label Band. We are made in the image of God. There's a lot of interesting, wonderful, variegated interpretations on that. Yeah, that's fun stuff. That, yeah, and unfortunately it's religious, so, and especially biblical text religious. So there could be some that would be deeply offended if I brought out the scholarship on that, but that's a fun subject. Yeah, I've studied that extensively in the Hebrew and the Greek as well. Fun stuff, really cool. From the Jewish angle, from the Christian angle, cool stuff. Okay. Oh, you're all good, John Smith. It's okay. Never apologize for being late. Better late than never, right? Yeah. All right. Okay, so you guys, I'm sorry the Tedesco brothers did not get here tonight. Not quite sure what happened. It's all good. I've enjoyed talking with you, my audience. I love you guys. You're awesome. Don't let that go to your fat heads. Stay humble, man. No, I will find out, and we can reschedule. They really were genuinely excited to be here. So something happened. Not a big deal. I hope they're safe. So in the meantime, it is an hour and a half, and I've had a ball talking with you. Thank you so much. I like these kind of lives almost better than pre-prepared stuff because I get to know you guys better, and I get to answer your questions, and you get to see what a real kook and dingling I am. So anyway, I appreciate all of you. Thank you for your support. Hit the like and subscribe and share the channel with your friends and family and enemies and everybody that you think would torture them. Share the channel, man. We're sharing the love. So anyway, this is a lot of fun for me. Appreciate all of you. So I'm going to head out. You guys have a good Sunday night the rest of the night, and I shall catch up to you. Keep your eyes peeled on the channel. Hit the notification button because I am going to be kicking out some videos, and I shall return just as soon as I can. Appreciate all of you. See you later.